in Avatar, Ike in Tombstone. He was the lead man in Don't Breathe 1 and 2. Old Man, Gods and Generals. He's worked with Spielberg, Cameron,
team, Stephen Vaughn,
Peter Jackson, and we are joined now by Stephen Lang. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Lou, Ethan, Dave. How are you, fellas?
We're doing
good.
fantastic.
Good. Thanks for coming out with us.
I'm delighted to be there. Be there with you.
Now,
Wherever you are.
Water.
Yeah, we're in Danbury, Brookfield, so in Connecticut.
Okay, great.
Now,
Okay, I'm out in California. Great.
yes, thank you for waking up so early to do this.
You bet.
The movie comes out Friday. Now, no one knew that the first movie was going to be a hit. I mean, you all might have, but we didn't know as fans. And then you have the success of that. You have the success of your actual career. Does this feel different out promoting this one this time, especially with all the reviews, which are amazing?
Well, the first time out, to be honest, we didn't know we had a hit at all. We knew we were doing something we considered special, for sure, but there was no way to project that it would have the kind of universal embrace that it had. So that was thrilling. But, of course, it does create some expectations along the way. And we're out here promoting it very, very heavily, but the reception has just been terrific right down the line. For the last couple of weeks, we've been going around the world. So I've been in Germany and England and Korea and Japan and now in Los Angeles. And people are responding very positively to it. So that's really cool and gratifying.
It's been a long time since the last one. Did you get your body back in shape as the Colonel? You were jacked up in the first one. Did you have to go back into the gym for this?
Well, I did. I never really left the gym. That's just kind of part of my life, I suppose. But what I didn't have to do, and in fact, it would have been counterproductive for me to get quite as big as I was in the first film, because that was the mission from Jim Cameron, was he wanted me as big and kind of brutal as possible. But now that I return, and it's no secret that I return in Na'vi form, and so it's a much lither form, much more agile character now. The former Quaritch really, he kind of thought and moved at right angles in a way, in a very kind of precise and military way. But now he's adapted to the environment much in a better, in a more useful way, and he's just so I'm not carrying all the weight and muscle that I did then, but I'm flexible.
Stephen, we've seen, you've been in through this process, in the movie making process for decades, sir, and working with someone of the caliber of James Cameron and the advent of CGI in this process. Is it a lot different from your stage performance of, and true stage to where you're mostly in front of green screens now? Is it a different way of producing the movies?
Well, look, at a very fundamental level, acting remains acting. You're engaging with whoever it is you're doing a scene with. You're engaging with the environment in a way that, is honest and authentic, hopefully. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing performance capture in front of a green screen or on a live-action set. That really is the mission, to be truthful, to be simple and honest, to tell the story, to advocate on behalf of your character. Now, having said that, certainly performance capture does have some special demands and presents some challenges. But, you incorporate them into the work. And very, very quickly, performance capture becomes a way of life that you understand. There's very little green screen in this film, in Avatar. There's a difference, which is kind of a long discussion, between green screen and performance capture. And there is, of course, a lot of CGI, a huge amount, because it's a computer-generated environment.
We're joined by actor Stephen Lang. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Stephen, I've wondered this before, and I'm thinking other folks do who love the movies. But how do you spend your time while you're waiting to start up your next scene when you're called to the set?
I'm a napper.
There you go.
Quite simply, I can't. it depends on the gig, I suppose. I mean, I remember in the first Avatar, in between scenes, I'd always be kind of lifting weights, doing curls or something like that, just to maintain. But at this point, 10 or 13 years down the line, if I'm needed, I kind of tend to go sit in a chair and close my eyes and maybe play some backgammon on the computer or something like that. Downtime, it's kind of time to just turn, you just turn the pot down to a low simmer. And then when I get called back to the set, you turn up the flame again.
Steven, I realize that filmmaking isn't a competitive sport, but would you say that Jim Cameron's the best director?
I don't like to go there. Jim is he leads the pack. I mean, there's no question of that. But that, you got to give due respect to so many other great ones. I wouldn't say that Jim is greater than Spielberg or Del Toro or any other number of Ridley Scott. They're all magnificent. I will say that I've never worked with a finer director than Jim Cameron, and I've worked with some fine ones. The other night at the premiere, one of my oldest friends and mentors, Michael Mann, was there, and I've done a lot of work for Michael over the years, and it was so great to see him. Now, Michael and Jim make very, very different kinds of films, and it's not for me to say which is better, but I love them both. But I couldn't ask for a better director than Cameron. I mean, he just knows the craft inside and out.
You've worked with some incredible directors over the years, Stephen, and one thing that I noticed here is your work in Death of a Salesman with Dustin Hoffman and Arthur Miller. Did you happen to spend, this is just a personal question, but did you happen to spend a lot of time in Roxbury with both of them in Connecticut?
I've been, I did. We'd spend a weekend with Dustin up at his place. I knew Arthur and loved him dearly. I actually did his final play. I was in that, the last play Arthur wrote, which was wonderful. And yeah, I'd be up there occasionally, having Dustin he's out here. We had dinner about a couple of months ago. It was just great to see him.
Just incredible resume, sir.
We're 20 minutes away from Roxbury. That's where our studios are.
I see. Yeah, beautiful up there.
Beautiful part of the state.
Absolutely.
Look, and here I'm going to ask a personal question as well. My wife and I are Jewish, and on Christmas Day, we like to go to the movies and go for Chinese food. And we thank God. Avatar will be out. When does it debut?
It's this Friday.
This Friday?
Yep.
It's Friday, the 16th. It's out and it'll be everywhere. And my advice, if possible, is to see it 3D and to see IMAX 3D if you can. It's a full movie experience that is really plays so beautifully in the IMAX experience. It plays anywhere, you know what I mean? But really, the first time you see it, and I think it's a film people will want to see more than once because there's an awful lot going on in it. And, you're absorbing a whole world that Cameron has created here.
So I found my movie for Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah, you got to go see it.
I'll play this interview for her.
Play for your wife, yes. Now we're eating into your day, and we realize you got to run. I wanted to squeeze one more question in before we let you go. Is there any part over the years that you angled for that you really wanted that maybe you fell short and didn't get?
The only one that ever kind of broke my heart was a film called Miller's Crossing that the Coen brothers made years ago. And I was in heavy competition in consideration for the lead in that, which ultimately went to Gabriel Byrne, and he's a superb actor, no dishonor losing a role there. But that one kind of broke my heart, and I learned a lesson there not to care too much until you sign. Sign on the line. Yeah, but that one. But mostly, I've been very fortunate. More often than not, roles that I've wanted to play, I've had a chance to do.
It's amazing. And go ahead.
And well, I was going to say, but really, excuse me. really, it's the unanticipated roles that get you. I mean, I never, when Quaritch came along, when Avatar came along, I didn't know anything about it, and all of a sudden here was this script in my lap, and I'm going, holy mackerel, this is the coolest thing I've ever read, and this is the greatest part in this film. So, I hadn't angled for it, but I got it. So that's the way life works at its best, I think, surprising you.
Well, thank you to you, Stephen Lang. Thank you to Jessica for helping set this up, and Ron, who is our buddy, who works for you. Thank you to Ron.
Hey, you guys you're pals with Ron Rogel, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the leading citizen of Connecticut, as far as I can make out. Is this not true?
He knows everybody. I couldn't believe, like when we started hanging out, I couldn't, because we have a radio show. We know a lot of people, but he knows an unusual amount of people.
Well, I mean, look, he's got a lot of people snowed. Let's face it.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, but you should have Ron on, because he really is the best.